I wanted to take you through some ideas that we just published today in the Sloan Management Review, Paul and I did, and the relationship between organizational learning and generative AI. And so this begins with an argument that says, look, the notion that we start with dialogue, which is the operating system of humanity, is a huge part here, and that its ability to combined with traditional AI really creates a new kind of management process and a new capability. If you step back and you look at the history of management, I would say to you that the two fundamental things that modern management did with the Industrial Revolution was an innovation in how you manage knowledge and an innovation in control systems. That is how you controlled large organizations and incented people and did contracts and so forth. With this new capability, we really think we're on a whole nother way to think about it. In this, we draw upon two examples. One, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, where they had really looked at the AI as an organizational capability, not just as a tool. The same with Wolters Kluwer. This is a story of how the organization created a learning lab where leaders would schedule an hour a week, create artifacts and share them throughout the organization. A lot of their AI developments were in the context of this. Now, if you go back down at the individual task level, this goes through the fact that most of the task level analyses, like the one that Eric Brynjolfsson did on call centers for the National Bureau of Economics and so forth, shows significant productivity, usually in the area of about 14 to 25 or 30% or more. Great study on that our friends over at Harvard Business School did with the Boston Consulting Group, and showed 12 to 25% productivity improvements. But the question is, how does this actually affect and scale not just the individual level, but at an organizational level? I'm going to suggest a couple of things. First of all, we need to think about three things that are available. First of all, anything that's dialogue-enabled product and process. And, if you think about Dan's presentation, by the way, Dan, that was just spectacular. Thank you very much. That was wonderful. But he was really in dialogue with the machine and understood when it understood and when it didn't. And I would say, Dan, you had the expertise to recognize a productive dialogue versus an unproductive dialogue. And a lot of your background gave you that, both, as you said, subject matter experts, some exposure to software programming. That's huge. There's no such citizen programmers. There are a lot of Dan Slavens out there, people who have had exposure to programming, who have subject matter expertise that are not heavy-duty programmers now, and people new to the capability as well, and that's going to drive a lot of it. And then third, 90% of data in organizations, according to Gartner, is actually unstructured data. So when you combine these three things, dialogue-enabled processes, the idea of citizen programmers and handling unstructured data, you're going to have way more codification of knowledge, and it's sharing. You're going to change the liquidity of knowledge inside organizations. Now, where to look for this? This is a very old model, actually. It was put together by a guy named Peter Keene, and another guy named Michael Scott Morton at the Sloan School of Management in a book called Decision Support Systems. And what they said is, look, if you look at organizations, there's three kinds of decisions: operational, managerial, and strategic. And then the data supporting them are unstructured, semi-structured, or structured. And structured is defined as the ability to have a clear objective function, to have a transformation function to get you from state A to state B, and then clear language of description. So you know exactly what you're looking for and how to describe it. The ability to transform from state A to state B, and then an objective function tells you B is better or worse than A. What's a perfect example of this? Something like a credit score is a completely structured problem right now. It used to be unstructured or semi-structured. A bank manager would say, hey, where do you go to church? Who are your parents? Do you live in a neighborhood? That kind of thing, when they're underwriting a loan. Now just give them 6 pieces of data, or even 3, they'll put it into a FICO score, and that you get a FICO score back, and you know that higher is better. Completely structured. Generative AI takes the ability to take managerial and operational things that are semi-structured or unstructured. Traditional AI is usually in the structured realm. This opens up the frontier of what is actually available to be structured. How does that change economics? We have an example from Jerry, which we've talked about before. This is progressively structuring from May through August, the ability to take interactions with customers on SMS and chat and to automate it more and more and more. And that completely changed the economics, response time, and so forth. So now Jerry believes they can do 5 times as many customers with the same 32 customer service agents. One last thought. How do you think about putting this into organizations? Paul and I really believe you need to look at it from a quality lens. What do we mean by that? This is an organizational capability with a pyramid of expertise. So in the quality movement, you had white belts, yellow belts, green belts, and black belts. And depending upon how much quality focus you had bigger or smaller pyramids. We believe the same thing is true of generative AI. If you're really going to make this an organizational capability, you need hierarchies of expertise, a decentralized federated structure, so you can take those unstructured things and make them more structured and get the economics of true automation.
Fantastic. Excellent, John. Thank you.